For my try this at home project, I decided to do a flower dissection because I enjoy biology and I work at a plant nursery. So I'm doing a flower dissection from the COSI Connects website, and it says that the activity can be for grades 1 through 8. And to get ready for the dissection, I printed off a picture with the diagram that is on the website. I have tweezers, I have magnifying glass, and I have scissors. So I'm going to be using this yellow flower here today. It is a mum, and it is a fall plant. It likes to bloom when it is cold outside. First it says, look at your flower and what do you see? And it wants to see if you can identify any plant structures. Right off the bat, one of those structures I can see is the sepals, which are under the flower with the petals themselves. They're protecting the bud while it is growing. And so now I'm going to snip the flower off the stem. This is the stem, this is the flower. So cut right underneath of the base, like this. And now it says to remove all the leaves. So I'm going to remove the leaves from the stem. Okay. And I'm going to cut the stem in half long ways. Here you can see that I've cut it in half. And it says, what do you notice? The hollow area inside is lighter, and it is also softer, whereas it's encapsulated by a harder outside that is darker green. This is where the nutrients is being sent to the flower. And now it wants us to look at the leaves. So if I take a leaf, it wants me to locate the midrib, which is the large vein in the middle. When I do that, you can see on both sides that there is a long vein running through the middle of the flower, of the leaf. And now it says there are smaller veins, which you can also see going all through the sides. And if I had to guess, it asks me how many, and use my magnifying glass, I would say there's maybe 15 here on this leaf. Those veins are what is pulling nutrients to the leaf and collecting nutrients through photosynthesis. And now I'm going to cut the leaf in half through the midrib. Look closely. Can you see the open tube that allows water to move through the leaves? When I use the magnifying glass, I can see a clear looking tube that looks like it might be moist, like it might have some water that would be running through it when you water the flower. It's hard to see. I can't focus it. Now we're going to take a closer look at the flower. So here is our flower. When I compare it to this image, I can start to see some of the parts. Like I said, the sepals are the little green part underneath that's coming out of the base. And sepals are modified leaves that protect the flower when it is a bud. The petals are the yellow pieces coming out of the base of the flower. Petals are modified leaves whose bright colors attract pollinators like bees, butterflies, bats, and hummingbirds. Pollinators help to transfer pollen from one flower to another. Did you know many flowers have landing strips that can only be seen by organisms who can see ultraviolet light, like bees? These landing strips are invisible to humans. That is something I did not know before doing this dissection. Now I'm going to cut the flower in half so that I can see the middle of the flower where the reproductive organs are. Cut right through the middle, through the bit of the base of stem that is left. Now I'm left with this. The stamen is made up of the anther, where pollen is made in the filament that holds it up. In many flowers, the yellow flakes are pollen. This pollen needs to be spread from flower to flower, often by pollinators, in order for the flower to make seeds. So in here, you can see that the stamen are the smaller shoots in the middle of the flower. Here, I can see the small green shoots that are coming out of the middle of the flower are the stamen. The short green shoots. And now I'm going to look for the carpel, which is made out of the stigma, the style, and the ovary. We have the ovary, the stigma, and the style. Stigma would be the top part here, and the style is this middle part, which is often called the pistil. So those are a little bit harder to see, but before they become petals, like these open yellow pieces are, in the middle, the green slowly turns into yellow, and then it has a little top to it. Those are the stigma and style. And then here, I can see this round piece in the middle coming straight out of the base is the ovary. This is the female reproductive organ of the flower. The carpel is made of the stigma and the style and the ovary. Inside the ovary are small round objects called ovules, unfertilized seeds. In order to create fertilized seeds, pollen needs to attach to the stigma to eventually make its way to the ovule. It will then fertilize the ovule, creating a seed. A good example of a pollen tube is the silk found in corn. So then after this demonstration would be performed, there are some follow-up interactive questions to get students thinking. One might be, why might each of these parts of the plant be important? Well, each part of the plant has a role. The leaves collect the sunlight for photosynthesis. In the middle of the stem, the nutrients is stored and brought up to the base of the flower, where reproduction can occur with the ovary and the stamen. And then the petals provide a place or a landing strip for the fertilizing or the pollinating insects like bees or hummingbirds or butterflies. One way to extend this activity would be to apply it to other different types of flowers. So here is the inside of a zinnia. This is a drier zinnia. And I can see the petals. I have the stem. And here at the base, I can see the middle little ovary there. And the stamen here are darker colored, probably because it is dry. And I can also see better in this flower the stigma and the style, which is right here in the top, coming up through the middle of the flower. And I can also see the yellow, which is the pollen that bees or hummingbirds or butterflies have brought to this flower. And it probably is from a monarch butterfly, because monarch butterflies migrate through my hometown during this time of year. Next, I would challenge myself or students to dissect a larger flower that the bloom has many small flowers coming off of it, such as a hydrangea. So there's one stem bringing all the nutrients to all these smaller buds that are flowers that are self-sustaining. And that's all I have.